overseas Chinese, and specifically today we're looking at a group living in the United States. Why do you guys think this community is important to brands?
First of all, if we look at the market size, right? There are about 15 million Chinese living overseas, including more than 5 million Chinese immigrants living here in the US, plus hundreds of thousands of new Chinese international students coming to the US every year. I think from a business perspective, this community is important to brands because Asian Americans tend to have a median income, which is about nearly 40% greater than the national median income. Secondly, when you target this young Chinese generation, it tends to have this so-called spillover effect. It means what's popular in this community tends to be also popular in China's Gen Z, as well as similar age groups in the US as well.
I would generally say that these people can be categorized as the early adopters of the trend here. And I think it's very effective to market these people first, since they're more likely to receive what the influencers recommend.
I think the logic is pretty simple. I mean, like Chinese community living overseas is the intersection between China and the rest of the world. If you draw two like circles, right? The Chinese community is the overlapped area. So if you can influence them, I think you can influence their friends in the US, friends back in China, families, colleagues, etc., which means both Chinese and American or Western markets. Meanwhile, I think sometimes people back in China, especially the youth, they pretty much look up to their peers' lifestyles in the US.
People in China would love to know how the Western popular culture is like. And I believe the international brands would love to explore Chinese market as well. So I think Chinese community living abroad like us is a great connection between the two. And I think we have the unique original perspective which combine two cultures.
Most of my followers are young people and many are studying abroad. I think they can feel more relatable to influencers who are also living abroad and sharing their lifestyles. And also I found out that many students here are also creating content, although they may not be famous right now or they may not identify themselves as influencers. There's the trend that more like ordinary people are sharing their lives with others, especially among these Chinese community living abroad. And so if one person recommends something and another person adopts to it, then it would spread really fast among this Chinese community since it's such a tight community.
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you mentioned about like a lot of them have become influencer or content creators. I don't know if Lauren mentioned that to me, that the survey that in China actually, when they did a survey about the new graduates actually, or the U.S.-based Chinese students, that the most desirable job they want to be is to be an influencer. Especially among those millennials and Gen Z. So I think it's a good thing, right? And more and more people are willing to share their content. And I think the platforms like, Little Red Book and WeChat, allows them to kind of get that message.